Welcome to the new show, The Esoteric Principles of Bodybuilding. This is your host, Tyson Bannigan, the Energy Detective, the Illuminator, bringing you and humanity into the light. And my host of this show is Batista Germond. Hopefully I got that spelt correctly or pronounced correctly. I am really excited about this series, and I hope you are. And then this is the introduction to a 13-part series, and we'll just put that up so you get a sense of where we're going with this. And the subtitle of this is The Missing Links to Fitness Consciousness. So welcome to the show, Batista, and I'm really excited about what you're going to have to share in this show. So what brought you, or what inspired you to put this series together?
Well, thank you, and I'm excited to be here. I feel like this is pretty much part of my life's mission, and this is something that I wanted to do for a long time, at least 10 years. And just to give you a little bit of background of how I came to this, I was, my whole life, I was a professional entertainer, a dancer, flamenco dancer, ballet dancer. So I was very physical always, and always kind of in touch with my body. That was my profession, but by hobby, if you like, my passion was always in metaphysical science, in the power of the mind, in comparative religions. And so when I wasn't dancing, I was always studying or participating in meditation. I've studied Kabbalah, Gnosis, shamanism. You know, it's like it was always like this passion for me. And one day I was in my mid-40s, and one day I was in another meditation group working with energies and, you know, doing trance medium and hands-on healing. And one day I kind of woke up into that meditation group, and it was literally like waking up. And I had so many injuries and so much pain in my body from dancing. You know, dancing is hard physically. The show must go on, no pain, no gain. I was brought up in pretty much boot camp, dance boot camp. I was taught by, my uncle was a first dancer with a Bolshoi in Russia. So this is like, you know, big time boot camp dance. So I always had that mentality, and that day in that meditation center, I woke up and I it's almost like I had so much pain, I was stuck. I didn't know. Something was missing. It was like, and then I looked around and I saw all my friends, beautiful souls, beautiful people, extremely talented, psychics, you know, you just with amazing spiritual talents or insights. But I looked and I saw that most of them were like me, or in pain somehow, suffering from some pain or backache or overweight or underweight, or, you know, and I saw that there was a disconnect between what we were trying to do, because the talk was always, okay, you need to ground the body, you need to, you know, so you need to ground the body so that you can be grounded, so that you can do the work. But it's all grounding almost intellectually in a way, you know, you visualize, but then where is our body? You know, it's like, if it's body, mind, spirit integration, then isn't our body supposed to be a reflection of the work we are doing towards, you know, the new earth, or the new, all that thing, right? Because ultimately we need to bring it home into the body, into the planet. And so it was like waking up from a dream, a long dream, and understand I was a dancer. So I was still very physical, but still I wasn't able to do anything to, you know, to really get out of pain or stop the weight gain or anything like that. Right. So
what a contrast, Batista. What a contrast. I mean, here you are with the hardcore training in dance, but the whole thing about the dance and the Bolshoi theater and everything is so spiritual or etheric. Yet, as you said, there's a disconnect. Here you are as a dancer suffering and in pain, but you're expressing something that's ethereal, that's spiritual, that's otherworldly. Yet you are not experiencing in your body. In fact, you're experiencing exactly the opposite. So, what an interesting disconnect for you to come to aha about how do I do this? How do I bring those two worlds together so that I can experience it in my body, not through pain, but through pleasure.
Exactly. Amazing. Yeah, you totally expressed that very well, and I didn't know because I had tried everything, not only physically with the workout modalities, yoga, Pilates, stretching, and then the acupuncture, the chiropractor, the hands-on healing, a lot of things. And that was it. Nothing was really making a difference. So I really had to think about this and meditate on it. And I came to realize that after 35, 40 years of studying those realms, if there's one thing that I learned is that we have the power to create. Okay? And I said, okay. Well, I need to create something in my life. Something needs to come into my life to change this. So I knew that at least I could put into action something that I've learned by really focusing, making intentions. And so I put it all in there. I said, this is it. I need to find the missing link, that piece of the puzzle missing. And the piece of the puzzle missing was for me, but it was for everyone that was around me because I saw that disconnect in everybody. It started with me, but then I saw it around me. And so I organized a meditation group and we did a mock-up board and we put the intentions and, like what we do when we do things like that. And the very, very next day, I met Stephen, who is now my husband, but then, he was not my husband then. He was this kind of bodybuilder type individual, and we met by accident. And in a restaurant where I was having a show, I was there for a meeting with the owner, talking about the show. And we made eye contact, and then he said, well, who are you? And I said, well, I'm Batista. And I said, who are you? And he said, I'm an international body designer. So it was just the very next, it was the very next day. So for me, it was like a sign from God. It was like, so I looked at him and I said, that's what I need. I never thought twice about it, because when you make an intention right. And then something comes, in alignment with your intention, then you gotta open your eyes and say, okay, then, what is this? So that's how it started, my journey into this realm. At that moment, and so to make a long story short, I hired him. And he has a very different program that is based on strength training, bodybuilding, but it's with a complete different philosophy, which we're going to talk about throughout these 13 weeks from a perspective of how I understand it, from my background in metaphysical science. But just talking about some concepts and principles that he was telling me about the male-female energy and how that affects the workout, about being grounded in the workout, about never doing anything that's uncomfortable, which are concepts that as a dancer, forget it. I don't, no pain, no gain. That's the name of that game, And, but I had such amazing results with this program that, literally within a couple of months, all my injuries were gone. It was just something that was like almost a miracle. I never even thought that it was possible, and especially not with lifting weights. Lifting weights sounds hard. You know, it sounds painful, but it wasn't. At that moment.
So tell us a little about that, because it is a disconnect. I know when I was talking to you about, I'm having pain in my back, and, the whole concept of lifting weights, your first sense is, how can I do that if I'm in pain, and why would I do that? Why wouldn't that just make it worse? And you're saying, oh no, that won't necessarily get worse. I mean, you must have the same feeling. Are you nuts, Stephen, that I'm going to go into that gym and start moving weights around? I'm already hurting. Why would I want to do something that would maybe hurt me more? But like you said, it's counterintuitive. That's not what happened to you at all. In fact, you said by doing it, it alleviated all the pain. So there must be some magic in this formula that is hard for the average person to understand. What is that? Can you speak to that?
Yes, absolutely. And that was exactly my reaction. Okay, because I couldn't even lift a gallon of water, with my shoulder that was like so bad, my back, everything. And it just didn't make sense at all. And I had I had a really hard time. Like the first time I went to the gym, understand I had a frozen shoulder, so much pain in my back. And here I am with 25 pounds dumbbells, and he wanted me to do like a chest press. And, I was going, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm afraid. What about, you don't understand. I have pain, and you just sat there and waited, and I did it. And it was not completely pain-free the first time, but I did it. And it didn't hurt more. As a matter of fact, very shortly, the pain went away. And yes, that's what got me on the path of researching, studying, and sticking really close to Stephen, because I wanted to know the trick. Because something that works like that. And I spent the last 10 years studying the tricks. And you got the right word. It's a formula. It's a formula. It's a prescription. That's why we call it prescription strength training. There's more to it than just lifting weight. It's the sequence of exercises. It's the angle of the benches. It's the technique of how to do it. Not only that, it's the philosophy behind it about no pain, no gain. Forget that. It's about really being comfortable, empowered, grounded. As a matter of fact, we teach people not to multitask. There's much more to it, even outside the gym. But we start in the gym. Leave your cell phone at home, or little things that people don't even think about. But through this method, you actually rebuild the body from the inside out, start correcting muscular imbalances, realign the posture, and you really rebuild the muscle in a balanced way. And most importantly, you're going to start strengthening the nervous system, because you get impacted with an incredible amount of strength. And that, in that way, it quiets the mind. So it's like a stress relief tool. And when you when you give the body all these things, okay, then the body finally has a place to rest, to be quiet, and then it heals. The body wants to heal.
Yeah, I think that you're absolutely right. I mean, what I discovered, when you haven't been doing exercise and you lift your arm up, and like you say, it's like a semi-frozen, or goes clunk, 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 as as it all adjusts, because your tendons and everything are not used to that. But there's something that I found in the little time I've been in the gym, as the muscle gets stretched, right? It begins to relax. It starts to let go, and all that stress and duress that's going clunk, clunk, it starts to realign itself. It's like the body's waiting for that right tension in the right way to be able to release the muscle to go back to normalcy. And that's really quite amazing that, like you say, the body already knows how to do this. And what you're providing is the opportunity for the body to remember what to do.
Exactly. The tool to actually get it done efficiently. Exactly. So when I saw all that that happened, then for me, my mission, because remember, when I made that intention, I was praying for finding that piece of the puzzle that was missing, and that was from a spiritual perspective. So very early on, I knew that eventually my goal, or my mission, if you like, was to connect the dots, you know?
Right.
And so this is something that I've always understood intuitively or instinctively, but I have never been able to formulate it into words so that somebody else could understand it. And I spent a long time pondering on it. This has been almost 10 years now, okay? So it's a little bit scary to venture in that area now, but I met you at a time when I saw your academy and what you do, and I said, oh, this is exactly in that alignment of what I was waiting for to do, because I you know, it's kind of jumping, like you're jumping the cliff. Okay, now I'm going to do it, and I'm going to, and you know, and I don't pretend to know everything, but I have a very strong background in, you know, in meditation, in working, in being a light worker, and in working with high energy. And in something that I've come to realize is when you work with energies that are so strong as a light worker, you know, you're really working with very, very intense energy. If the body is not grounded, okay, then it's kind of like the electrical wires that is outdated in a home, and you plug too many appliances and then the fuse blow, okay? And this is what happens. So what I've come to really realize is how important and crucial it is for anybody that is a light worker or that is working with high energy to really learn to strengthen the body, to ground the body, but not from an intellectual perspective, from a physical perspective. Because what I've seen is that in every meditation group they talk about grounding the body, body, mind, spirit integration, or even in some group when you're in meditation, they say, oh, watch your posture, okay? But if you don't have the appropriate muscles in your back to keep your posture up, it's not going to happen, you know? So there's a lot of talk about it, but very little tools to actually bring it home to the body, okay? So my last 10 years, I have really tried to understand how to make these connections. And this is the fruits of all this research, of all that I'm putting into those 13 episodes, those 13-part series on the esoteric principle of bodybuilding, where I intended to make those connections. For example, to connect the chakras. We always talk about aligning the chakras, but to make the connections of how it relates to the posture of the body. Because as you know, so as above, so below, we have the physical body, the energetic body, the esoteric, you know, we have like what, 7 bodies, and all of them are connected to each other. And so why is it then, or how can somebody think that the person's posture has no connection with the alignments of the chakra? Of course it has a connection, you know, because we want to be able to have the kundalini energies to flow freely, but we on the physical plane, we need to have proper postural alignment for the neurochemicals to flow, for the energies to flow, the blood, so that it all can reach the brain and create new neurons. And so, it's all connected. So I researched the connections. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the connection between posture and the chakras. We're going to talk about the 7 chakra system, but we're also going to talk about the 13 chakra system and how that works with being able to manifest things in our life that we want or need, because there's more than 7 chakras, there's 13. So we're going to talk about that. And again, the posture is a huge component in this, because metaphysically speaking, the posture is like the staff, and it's the power of manifestation in a sense. So, but so we're going to talk about those connections, and we're going to talk about the yin yang, male, female energy, the right brain, the left brain, and how to apply that in the workouts, because right now workout is all male energy. It's all about do more, no pain, no gain. I mean, if you go to a gym, personal training, they always got you to do more than you can. That's fitness. That's male energy. Right? And we have to have the balance between the male and female. So we're going to talk about that. And during that particular episode, we're going to bring in Dr. Fitness USA himself, because he's the one that got this whole thing. He's very intuitive. I don't know where he learned that from, but he's got it down. And that's who I learned from. So we're going to bring him in. But then, for me, is I also had some questions about sacred geometry and Leonardo da Vinci and the Vitruvian man, that perfect man from the ancient civilization. Yeah. And so I got to think, wait, they were onto something, and so what about if we had an opportunity with an exercise modality such as bodybuilding, which is perfect? What about if we had an opportunity to really work on our body to start reconstructing that ideal perfect man, in a sense? You know what I'm saying? So we're going to talk about this.
When you talk about body structuring, body sculpturing. Yeah, we're sculpturing the new man. We're bringing Leonardo da Vinci's, instead of it being a painting or that beautiful circle with the arms stretched out with all of the different, sacred geometry, we get to experience that in our body. So, like you said, above, so below, as within, without, we'll get to feel being connected to the whole universe when we align our body according to the sacred geometry of who we are. So that's very, very exciting. But I know there's another part. I know you're going to get to it, but it's your passion, and that is the whole concept of anti-aging. You want to talk about that?
Oh, yes, of course. And because that's the icing on the cake. You know what I mean? Because, we all want to do fitness and be in fitness because we want to look good, or we want to, get in shape or whatever. But, when you go about it from that perspective, then it's kind of like you're kind of anticipating a goal, but you're not enjoying the process, and in order to really everything to be sustainable long term, which if you want those anti-aging benefits, then you need to look at the long haul. It's like starting a business. You're going to make your goals, you 30-day, 90-day, but you're going to have to look at where you want to be in 5 years, where you want to be in 10 years, where do you want to be in 20 years? And for fitness is the same thing, okay? Because the promises of the body of your dream in 90 days, trust me, on the 95th day, most of people are, already, you can't sustain it. So when you understand, and this is also why I wanted to do this series, and this series focused for light workers, because, that's my passion and that's also my community, is that you know, when you understand those principles or those concepts, and then you get to really feel empowered and do the workout, and you know, I swear by the workouts that we teach because I know the benefits, okay? Then what happens is naturally and very soon, the person literally is going to regain 15 years of their life. I see it all the time. People change, and it's not only physically, but it's like the chemistry changes, the face changes, and we have seen people coming to our program, you know, at 40 years old, and 10 years later, they look 15 years younger. You know, they should be looking older now, and now they're much, much younger. So the anti-aging benefit, I call it the fountain of youth. You know, this is the...
Let me just mention this for a sec. I mean, how long have I been in your program? What, 4 months? Maybe 5 months? 4 months?
I think,
and already people are coming. Already people are saying you look younger. Already people are picking up that I'm doing something. So in 4 months, going to the gym once a week, people are already noticing a change. I mean, to me, that's incredible. I mean, that's yes. There'll be long range goals, but there's immediate goals too. In 4 months, 1 week, once a week, there's already change and transformation that people can pick up. To me, that's exciting.
Yes, and of course because you live so far from the gym, so you're only going once a week. But you know, like you said, even once a week, you're going to get the results. Of course, you know, this is just the beginning of the journey. You know what I mean? But imagine exactly, you know, but of course we have to work with what you have available, and, you know, you have to drive a long time to get to the gym. So, but, you know, so what? You know, you get there, right? It's like the turtle and the hare, you know, who's going to get to the goal faster, you know? You have to be consistent and keep going. It's like sculpting the marble sculpture, you know. It's that's why I love Steven's poster, you know. He's sculpting the David, and it's like that, you know. Rome wasn't built in one day. But when you feel good, and then you start seeing that your body is the pain is going, and you feel so good, and why wouldn't you want to continue forever?
Exactly. And that's what's exciting about all this. So how is this different? I mean, one of the questions you have me ask you, which is a really good one, what is the difference between bodybuilding, prescription strength training, and what you're talking about? I mean, you talked a bit about that. Do you want to say a little bit more about that? I mean, for those that are coming through the bodybuilding background, they really need to know how is this different.
Yeah, because, well, first of all, it's like I was saying earlier, we look at the body from a structural perspective. So we don't go to the gym just lifting weight and doing body parts. That's not what we do, okay? And we don't, if you go in the personal training realm, you know, they think about you need to shock the body so it responds, so you got to run up and down stairs, and you got to do a lot of things and a lot of movement. We don't do that. We ground the body, and this is also the purpose of this 13 series, because we got to understand why we need to ground the body, why all this movement doesn't really necessarily achieve the results long term. You know, we're going to talk about that. So this is what we ground the body. We have a formula. There's a sequence of exercise. There's a way of manipulating the weight range, the series, you know, how many sets, how many reps, at what weight, because there's one thing that really is important to achieve that symmetry and that balanced physique is the weight have to be proportionate, you know. And when we get the homework from people on our program, the first time they go, we let them put the weights that they do. We want to see where they're at. And most of the time, No, all the time. I've never seen one person come in with the weights in balance. There's always a body part that the person feels stronger and they're going to do more weight, but they don't realize that that particular body part is a smaller muscle, so that you should do less weight than, like in this particular case, I'm referring to the chest and the shoulders. Okay, shoulders. So people put weight like they don't know, so I can do that much weight, I'm going to do that much weight. They don't realize that in order to create that balanced physique, everything has to be in proportion. So if you do so much weight on the leg press, that's you ground, that's the ground, that's what's going to bring the energy up to your body. Now that is going to dictate the weight range that you need to be doing on your chest. Now if you do so much weight with the chest, then you need to do, proportionally speaking, that much weight for your shoulders. So everything falls into the piece of the puzzle. So at the end of the day, you have a proportionate physique, a balanced physique, and that's how you're going to attain that symmetry and put things in perspective physically. So that's the beginning, and that's very different from what's out there in the world of fitness. Very different.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I've felt about weight training and is that so many people that I know that have done weight training, they have lots of muscles, but they don't really have any strength. That you ask them to do something and they really can't do it. They're not comfortable. So it's not a full body awareness of strength. It's just they look good.
Yeah.
And who wants to just look good? You really want your body to be able to respond as one holistic unit and feel, really at home in your body, that you have the strength and the chutzpah to do what you need to do to get you through the day. Yes. So for that, it's completely different. And thank you for explaining that way, because it makes perfect sense for me, not being in a gym since I was 21, about, what am I doing back there again? Why am I doing this? But when you explain it that way, that we're really, and I love the image of Michelangelo, that we're looking for that sacred proportion in the body, because when we have that sacred proportion in the body, we're going to remember who we are on all levels of our being, physical, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, all of it. So thank you for that. I finally understand on even a deeper level, why am I doing this? Why are we doing it? Why are you so impassioned about that?
Yeah.
So, one of the questions that I know you get, and I would get if I talk about this, is, well, what about, if you're going to have flexibility and a perfect body, and why can't you just stretch? Why can't you do Pilates, or why can't you just do yoga or Qigong or Tai Chi? Won't that do the same?
Yeah. Okay. So that's almost everybody has that misconception about those different fitness modalities. So there's a very easy and simple answer to that is yoga and like stretching and all this. It just uses different muscle fibers in the body. Okay. So from a just anatomical point of view, it's very simple. You start losing muscle mass when you are about 30 years old. Okay, unless you're doing strength training. Strength training is a muscle building activity. It uses those muscle fibers, those contractions that build muscle mass. Yoga, stretching uses different muscle contractions that don't build muscle mass. Okay, so it's just that simple. So if you are not building muscle mass, you are losing muscle mass. Okay, so that's simple. So now if you think about it, back in the days in yoga, when yoga was developed and born, if you like, then the people were very active physically. They were actually carrying, there was a lot of manual labor. So in a sense, when you think about it, it kind of makes sense that in a spiritual way that they needed to relax and bring their focus in, because yoga was actually a spiritual practice originally. It wasn't a workout per se. Okay, now people use it like for working out. But nowadays, we sit in a desk, we're in our car, we don't have the physical labor. So you know, maybe back then they had more opportunities to actually keep their muscle mass up. Now most of the people nowadays, you know, don't work physically that much. So you got to compensate. You know, the times change, and we got to adapt with the times. You know, it's like using a flip phone or a dial phone versus iPhone. You know, it's like things change. You got to change with it. And strength training is very fast becoming the number one anti-aging tool now, scientifically proven. There's another thing though, is when you do freestyle movement, for example, like yoga, it's very easy to compensate. So we all have a side that is stronger than the other, all right? So, and in dance, the same thing. And I noticed that we all end up with one side that's stronger than the other, and it's very, very easy to do. So unless you have a really good teacher that knows and that can spot that and stay on top of it and correct it, and so that you really work on the posture, on the muscular imbalances and all these things, then when you do freestyle movement, then most likely you're not necessarily going to work and work on those muscular imbalances or realign the posture. Most people work out from where they stand, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And in strength training, you have a gauge. You have weight, and if you're doing 10 reps, 8 reps on this side, and you're going to do 10 on this side, you know this one is harder than this one, then you know, and we have a way to balance that when we teach people, then you can really be in charge. You have, it's quantifiable. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that's another difference. But that's the misconception. Most people that are very involved with yoga, usually they say, oh, I do yoga. Why do I need strength training? I'm fine. They don't realize that there's more things. You know, it's kind of like this. If you go to a networking event and you meet a doctor, he says, oh, I'm a doctor. Then the next question is going to be, oh, what kind of doctor are you? Are you an orthopedic surgeon? Are you ear, throat, nose? Are you, you know? If you're a lawyer, oh, I'm a lawyer. Oh, what type of law do you practice? Oh, I practice this law, that law. In fitness, oh, I am a fitness expert, or I'm a strength training coach, or I'm a body design master, or whatever. Oh, I do yoga. Oh, I run. Or I like hiking. Not, oh, what does that mean? Or what? You see what I'm saying? So in the fitness industry, people just think that it's all equal, I guess, you know, that they're not different things that do different things. And so that's, you know, and strength training is an art. It's like dancing, like anything. If you want to get really skilled at it, then you got to learn. You know, most people go to the gym and it's like shooting darts in a dark room with a blindfold, you know. Oh, do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Oh, I do strength training. Oh, what do you do? Oh, I use 5 pounds. Oh, okay, well, that's not strength training. You know.
So where are we going next? What's the next one in the series going to be about?
Okay, so the next one in the series, we're going to talk about the mindset. Okay, we're going to talk about mindset, and we're going to talk about what comes first, the chicken or the egg. Okay, so we're going to dive into the nervous system, because we hear a lot about, oh, you have to have a good mindset, you got to keep positive thinking, your thoughts are going to create your reality. But think about it that way. If you're stressed out, your nervous system is fried, like what we talked about, the electrical box in the house and the fuse blowing up, okay? And that's what happens in the body when we are on overload. And are you necessarily going to be able to keep that positive mindset? Chances you're not. I mean, I'm not talking you, but in general, right? So we're going to dive into the nervous system, what comes first, the chicken or the egg, you know, and what can we do to keep a positive mindset. And we're going to talk about the role of the nervous system and how we connect these dots with the female male energy, grounding the body in the workout. And we're going to give you some grounding tools so that you can start understanding what goes on in the fitness industry and what can be done to get better results.
Well, okay, that sounds great. So those listening to the show today, this is part 1 in the esoteric principles of bodybuilding, and we're looking at the missing links to fitness consciousness. This is a 13-part series, and we encourage you to join us same time, same place, every Friday afternoon at 2 p.m. Pacific, which is, what is that, Dot? Is that 5 p.m.? I guess it's 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Is that correct?
Yes.
I think it is. Yes, it is. Yes. So same place, same time next week. Thank you for this. This is a great introduction to where we're going and what we're doing. Greatly appreciate it. It's going to be a great series. And thank you for agreeing to do this. I'm looking forward to it.
Hey, my pleasure. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Bye for now. See you next week.
Bye-bye. See you next week.